Before we begin, take a moment to think about this. What if protecting just one person required hundreds of trained professionals, armored vehicles, helicopters, secure aircraft, advanced technology, and millions of dollars in resources? It may sound unbelievable, but for Donald Trump, that's the reality. In this documentary, we'll go behind the scenes of one of the world's largest and most complex security operations to uncover how it works, who pays for it, and what it truly takes to protect a former president of the United States. What does it really cost to protect Donald Trump? The moment he steps into public, an extraordinary security operation comes to life. Secret Service agents deploy, roads are secured, armored vehicles move into position, aircraft stand ready, hundreds of people begin working behind the scenes. But how much does this massive operation actually cost, and who pays for it? Today we're pulling back the curtain on one of the world's largest and most complex security operations. Before we can answer that question, we first need to understand how the operation itself works. Because every dollar spent protecting Donald Trump begins long before he appears in public. To millions of people watching on television, everything seems effortless. Donald Trump walks out of a building, waves to supporters, enters a waiting vehicle, and the motorcade drives away. The entire sequence lasts only a few moments. What the cameras don't show is that the operation may have started days earlier. Protecting a former president of the United States isn't simply about assigning bodyguards. It's about reducing risk before it has the opportunity to become a threat. Every public appearance begins with planning. Before a single road is closed or a security barrier is installed, specialists begin gathering information. Security planners work with federal, state, and local partners to understand the location, identify potential challenges, and develop a detailed protection plan. Only then do advance teams arrive. Whether Donald Trump is visiting a campaign rally, an airport, a convention center, or one of his private properties, every location is carefully inspected. Entrances are examined. Emergency exits are identified. Nearby buildings are evaluated. Communication systems are tested. Medical facilities are located. Alternative evacuation routes are mapped. Every detail matters. Where will the motorcade stop? Which entrance will Donald Trump use? Where will members of the media stand? Where will emergency responders be positioned? How quickly can the protectee be moved if conditions suddenly change? Each question must be answered before the event even begins. The agency leading this mission is the United States Secret Service. Although it was founded in 1865 to combat counterfeit currency, protecting national leaders became one of its primary responsibilities in the early 20th century. Today, the Secret Service protects the president, the vice president, visiting foreign leaders, and qualifying former presidents, including Donald Trump. But despite its central role, the Secret Service doesn't work alone. Large protective operations require cooperation from many organizations. Local police departments assist with traffic control and public safety. Emergency medical services prepare for possible emergencies. Fire departments review response plans. Airport authorities coordinate secure arrivals and departures. Depending on the event, additional federal and local agencies may also contribute personnel and resources. Each organization performs a different task. Together, they form one coordinated security network. By the time Donald Trump appears before a crowd, hundreds of individual responsibilities have already been completed. Security checkpoints have been established, communication channels have been tested, personnel have been briefed, vehicles have been positioned, emergency plans have been reviewed, backup plans have also been prepared, because in presidential protection, there is rarely just one plan. If weather changes, another route is ready. If traffic becomes a problem, another option exists. If an unexpected situation develops, teams are trained to adapt immediately. That flexibility doesn't happen by accident. It comes from years of training, detailed preparation, and constant coordination. Most spectators never notice any of this. They see Donald Trump walking onto a stage, they hear the applause, they watch the speech, then they go home. What they never see are the professionals working quietly behind the scenes. Their success is measured in an unusual way. If everything goes according to plan, almost nobody notices they were ever there. That is exactly how protective operations are designed to work. Invisible, organized, prepared, and always ready. Of course, preparation comes at a price. Every planning meeting, every advance inspection, every security vehicle, every hour of training, every communication system, every specialist assigned to the mission, all of it requires funding. Yet planning is only the first phase. The moment Donald Trump leaves his residence, the operation grows dramatically larger. Armored vehicles roll into position, police escorts move into place, aircraft prepare for departure, communications teams go live. Dozens of moving parts must work together with precision. What appears to be a routine journey from one destination to another quickly becomes one of the most carefully coordinated transportation operations in the world, and that is where the cost begins to rise even faster. Planning is only the beginning. The moment Donald Trump begins to travel, the security operation becomes larger, faster, and significantly more complicated. For an ordinary person, traveling across a city might require nothing more than a car. For someone under presidential-level protection, even a short journey can require a coordinated convoy involving federal agents, local police, communications personnel, medical support, and specialized vehicles. The most visible part of this operation is the motorcade. To the public, it looks like a long line of black SUVs moving quickly through empty streets, but every vehicle has a purpose. During a presidency, at the center can be the heavily armored presidential limousine, commonly known as the Beast. Around it are support vehicles carrying Secret Service personnel and other members of the presidential team. Police units can secure intersections and temporarily restrict traffic as the convoy moves through an area. And the route itself isn't chosen casually. Security teams study the journey beforehand, coordinate with local authorities, and prepare alternatives in case circumstances suddenly change. But moving a president across the country or around the world requires an even larger operation. That's where Air Force One comes in. Air Force One is technically the call sign for a U.S. Air Force aircraft carrying the sitting president. It isn't simply transportation. The aircraft provides secure communications and working areas that allow presidential responsibilities to continue while airborne, and what viewers see on television is only part of the operation. Presidential air travel requires flight crews, maintenance personnel, communications specialists, security teams, logistics support, and substantial preparation on the ground. Additional equipment and personnel may need to reach the destination as well. For shorter presidential journeys, Marine One can provide helicopter transportation. Once again, the president isn't simply getting into a helicopter and taking off. Landing areas must be secured, flight operations must be coordinated, weather and aviation conditions must be monitored. Security personnel must be ready at both ends of the journey. All of this requires resources, but perhaps the most complicated environment isn't inside an armored vehicle or aircraft. It's a public event. When Donald Trump appears before thousands of people, security teams must manage a completely different challenge. Before the event begins, venues can be inspected and controlled areas established. Attendees may pass through security screening. Secret Service personnel monitor the protected area, while local law enforcement assists with responsibilities such as traffic and crowd management. Medical personnel remain prepared for emergencies. Communication between teams continues throughout the event. The audience sees a speech. Security personnel see thousands of moving variables, and every additional layer of protection requires people, equipment, transportation, and time. That's why calculating the cost of protecting Donald Trump isn't as simple as looking at the salaries of a few Secret Service agents. The real operation extends far beyond the people standing next to him. It includes what happens before he arrives, while he travels during the event, and after he leaves. And once all those expenses are combined, we finally arrive at the question that matters most. Who actually pays for all of this? So what does it really cost to protect Donald Trump? There isn't one simple number. That's because there isn't one single bill covering everything. The Secret Service receives federal funding to carry out its protective responsibilities, including protecting qualifying former presidents. But presidential and former presidential security can also involve other government organizations. When a protected person visits a city, local law enforcement may provide officers for traffic management, crowd control, and other public safety responsibilities. Those deployments can generate overtime and other expenses for local governments. Transportation creates another layer of cost. For a sitting president, presidential aircraft operations require crews, maintenance, fuel, logistics, communications, and security. Motorcades require specialized vehicles, trained personnel, coordination, and support. Advance teams may travel ahead of major visits to prepare locations and coordinate with authorities. Then there is something even harder to calculate: the cost of maintaining the capability itself. Agents require training, vehicles require maintenance, communication systems must remain secure, specialized teams must remain prepared, equipment must be available whether an emergency happens or not. That's why dramatic claims about a single exact price for protecting Donald Trump should be treated carefully. The total expense is distributed across different budgets and organizations, and some operational information isn't publicly disclosed. But perhaps the most interesting part of the story isn't the final dollar amount. It's what that money actually represents. When Donald Trump walks onto a stage, the audience sees one person surrounded by several agents. What they don't see are the hours of preparation that came before it, the officers securing roads, the specialists coordinating communications, the personnel preparing transportation, the emergency teams standing by, and the professionals watching for problems they hope will never occur. Successful presidential protection is designed to look uneventful. If everything works perfectly, the public sees almost nothing happen. The motorcade arrives. Donald Trump enters the building. The event takes place, he leaves, and everyone goes home. Behind those ordinary-looking moments is an extraordinary amount of preparation, and that's ultimately why protecting a president or former president can be so resource-intensive. You're not simply paying for the agents visible around one person, you're supporting an entire system designed to anticipate danger, coordinate a response, and keep functioning wherever that protected person goes. So the next time you see Donald Trump stepping out of a motorcade or walking onto a stage, look beyond the few agents standing around him, because what you're actually seeing is only the final layer of a much larger operation, an operation involving federal resources, local support, specialized transportation, advanced communications, extensive preparation, and professionals working behind the scenes. The exact total cost may be difficult to calculate. But one thing is clear: protecting Donald Trump is far bigger and far more complicated than what we see on camera. And perhaps the most remarkable part is that when the system works exactly as intended, most of us never notice it at all. But there's one question we haven't answered. What happens when even all this protection isn't enough? That's a story for another day. Until then, stay curious.